So whenever you're engaged into television,
That's
it's
good.
telling you a vision. And so it's getting inside of you. You notice like you'll watch a TV show and then you feel like what the TV show is talking about. You see a commercial food. Now you're hungry. It's telling you a vision to direct your mind. So the Lord wanted me to shut it down so that he can be the only one speaking to my mind. Welcome to Real Talks with Tracy Metelus
and Sonia Fleshman. So, Tracy, I had an opportunity to see your previous video and about your testimony. It was really awesome, and I enjoyed it. So, you had talked about this time where you were in a place where you were young and you didn't like going to church.
Okay.
And you had actually said, which I thought was hilarious, when I grow up, I'm not going to church, and I'm not going to make my kids go to church. So I thought that was hilarious. And what I have noticed about today, like people are really struggling with, making their children go to church. And I know some people have even opted not to force their children go to church, because when we grew up, we didn't have an option.
Correct.
You woke up every Sunday and you went to church. And so how do you feel about that now that you're older? And can you speak to that parent that may be having struggles or issues trying to make that decision whether or not they should really force their children to go to church?
Oh, that's a good question, Miss Sonia. Yes. But so what I would say concerning us having our children to go to church is that important in our lives? I would say yes. Long as we are going to a church that is beneficial for the child. However, I believe when I was coming up, because the church that I was in was very well in its teaching, and it was very well with the leader that was giving us information that was necessary and instilling in us the foundation of prayer and the foundation of faith. Well, now what I learned when I did have kids is that church starts at home. So for a while I did rely on church to be their teachers, but what area we're in, I believe that it's important if we start at home teaching them, so us living that life or us being in a place where we are the church, and then we take them to that building for fellowship. But now I teach my children to go and be among others at the church, and then we teach them at home too.
Okay, so you say teach them at home.
The Bible.
The Bible.
Yeah,
so what is that? Like, walk a parent through that.
Okay, so we read the Bible to them, but we also have them to read it back to us. We talk about the story and the situation, and then we ask them, well, how does this fit your day today? What can you do as they're young? Mine are 6 and 7. So what have you learned from this lesson today that can be beneficial for you at school? Or are you being obedient with your parents? Or are you being obedient with your teacher?
Yes.
Are you doing what's right? So we instilled in them even the power of prayer. So then we train them and teach them how to pray and why are they praying. So when one of my boys get up and say, I had a bad dream. And I'm like, okay, let's pray. Go ahead and pray about it. Because you can stop it.
That's good.
You know what I mean? So that's how we teach them at home. We give them the lessons at home, because when they do go to church, they're teaching the class themselves. Because church is inside of us, you know what I mean? So yes. So I think that's a very good question, but I think it's very important to instill faith and biblical structure inside your kids at home. And then because some churches, I'm gonna just be honest, they can train them up in ways that I was privileged to be in a church that taught faith and prayer, but some churches may not teach all of that type of foundation, so they can miss it. But you're their first teacher.
That's good.
Yeah.
We are the first teacher.
We are
not do as I say.
Yes.
How many times have
But
we heard that?
have to be that example.
Yes.
So yes, that's a good question.
That is good. So next you had mentioned something about living a double life. I couldn't imagine Miss Tracy Metelus living a double life.
Yeah.
And what does a double life look like? And then is that okay? Because I have, relatives and, that double life is a big thing today. So
Okay.
is that really okay?
So so when I was speaking in my testimony about me living a double life, I was more so speaking of me believing that I can do both, as far as I can pray and I can receive all the blessings of the Lord, and I can also feel like I want to be of the world. And so that's double living. So I'm doing the things of the world that the world thinks that is a good thing to do, I guess, or a okay thing to do, or I'm grown and I can do this, but not having boundaries and statutes and standards that are in the word, but wanting the blessings of the word. So living a double life in that aspect. Does that make sense? So I'm going to church, I'm paying my tithe, I'm going to church, I'm praying, I read the word occasionally, especially when I get in a rut. I'm trusting God. I know God. I say God knows my heart. Yet I'm doing everything contrary to what He's telling me to do. And so, no, that's not okay.
So give us some examples, some of those contrary things.
So say this is what I used to do. I can just talk about me.
Okay.
I would go to the club Saturday night and go to church Sunday morning and feel like, well, I went to church, so God keep me and cover me. I'm doing everything of the world. I'm drinking, I'm cursing, I'm hanging, but I'm expecting the blessings of God because I'm praying and paying my tithe. Like, it doesn't add up, but in my mind, I felt like, well, I am giving God some of my time.
Got it.
So, no, living a double life, I didn't understand that there were grounds that goes with that double life, as far as with the enemy, when the word tells us, if you ignorant of his devices, he takes advantage of you. So I didn't understand legal grounds back then. So I didn't understand, if I engage in darkness and then try to engage in the light, the enemy had a hold on me, and things that I did want to prosper, they couldn't prosper because of the grounds that I would walk on.
Yeah, that's good. And one of the things I think about too, because the enemy is so cunning, but those things in secret.
Yes.
So those things that we may do that we don't want other people to know we're doing is definitely a red flag.
Yes.
So that's what I was thinking about when you talk about those grounds and, living that double life.
Correct.
When we go to church, do we want everybody to know what we did the night before? All right. So you had mentioned about living a good life at a certain point. You said you were making money. You said that, you had nice things, a nice home, nice car. But you said that you were still empty.
Yes,
So
I did.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
I can. Okay. So I did mention that I was having everything that you would think is a good thing, right? So you would think that having the car or the good job, the money, that everything should be okay. You're being successful, and so that's the life that was, everybody thought that was the good life. And so I displayed that. I didn't have a lot of lacking in things. However, my heart was feeling It was my heart. Like my heart would feel sad or empty. When I say empty, that's what I mean. Like something didn't feel complete. So I would feel like I'm missing something. Or even though I have all these things that the world would consider good, I still felt like something was missing. So, say if I go out somewhere, or say if I'm receiving a nice paycheck, even with all of it, a part of me would feel like something's not there. So, you would think that having these things would make you so happy or so, whatever you want to call it, but it didn't work for me. I was still just numb.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Like it's something that's missing.
Something's missing.
It's like when you can be in a room full of people and still feel like you're by yourself.
Yes. Or say you have all the money in your pocket that like your bills are paid. No, you're not, rich, but all of your bills are paid. You're comfortable. You in a position where you're doing good. You're successful. However, on the inside, something feels unbalanced.
Yeah, you had mentioned about, was it sleeping pills, or you were trying to medicate the pain?
So now what I come to find out is the emptiness is I was yearning for my creator. Because I was searching the world for something that I was missing and it could not fulfill me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the sleeping pills was trying to be a feeling that I was trying to use it as something to fulfill that void. To say, okay, I'll just go to sleep. Tomorrow will be a better day. I don't know I know I'm feeling something. I say this, I mean, you know how you talk to someone, you're yearning for something. Like I would even have friends that I'd be like, let me just go hang out. And it still wasn't there. Then so then it's like, well, let me just take a sleeping pill and go to bed. But it was a trick because the enemy was trying to use that to make it out of an addiction.
Wow.
Yeah. Like you need that drink to soothe you. You need that pill. You need that drink. You need that to make you feel better because you just need to relax. That's what's wrong with you.
Yes.
You need some relaxation. When all along the Lord was saying, no, you need me to feel you. You're searching for, and then now you're searching it for, I'm going to talk about me. I started searching for what I was missing in people. And they will always fail me.
Oh my God.
I thought they can give me something that God had inside of him, but they didn't even have it inside of them. And so I get mad at people. Like people crazy.
Right.
Yeah. So.
And that makes me think of the divine setup.
Yeah.
We keep going down all of these different roads and searching for people, searching for love in all the wrong places, searching for things and still not being fulfilled to the point where we just can't do it anymore. Or we hit a brick wall.
Yes. Yes.
Or we self-destruct.
Yes. Yes. And you would see me and think I was doing so great.
That mask.
Yeah. I wanted to say the crazy thing was after I got done doing everything that I thought would make me feel better, I felt worse the next day. I would literally feel like, man, I gotta stop. I always had that.
Yes.
I need to stop. Like, girl, why is you taking a sleeping pill again? You need to stop. Or why are you drinking that liquor? Then
God.
When you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh Lord, I gotta go to work. I need to stop. everything that I was doing that I thought would help me, I would be like, I need to stop. That was the key. That, girl, you is in the wrong lane.
Right, exactly.
You're searching for you're searching for love in all the wrong places, because it was love that was missing. Money couldn't give me love. Girl, don't make me start in here. Okay.
Okay, but the true love.
The true love. That's what was
The
missing.
love like no other.
Yeah, it was the love.
The love that can touch all those empty places.
Unconditional love.
Oh my goodness.
That knew me.
Yes.
Knew my ugly side, but wouldn't judge me. I was searching for a comfort, a secure place that even if I ain't have all that I had, it would still be there. You know, I was searching for someone who would understand my flaws and still rock with me. I was just searching for that loyal. I was searching for loyalty in people that they don't even understand this type of loyalty, because he didn't design it inside of them. Does that make sense? I was searching for something that people don't even contain.
Those abusive relationships, those broken relationships where we expect or want that person to love us, but they really don't have it in them.
They don't have that kind of love.
Not that kind of love.
Because he is that love.
Right, the only.
And he took me out of him.
Yes.
And formed me and created me. Yes. And so I was pulling on something that I knew that I was connected to. But I was searching for it in the wrong places. So that's why when I said I had the good life, I had the good job, I had the good car, I had the money, it wasn't fulfilling.
Okay, so you talked to us about living a double life. Mm-hmm. And you talked to us about feeling empty and self-medicating. Mm-hmm. So once you got to that point and you realized, because you mentioned the red flags, that there were signs. So then what happened next? Because I know a part of your interview, you were talking about denouncing yourself and rejecting yourself. So what did you really mean by that?
Turning away from the things that I thought that was right, the things that I thought that would help me. Mm-hmm. So what I did was I started a fast. I can just tell you what I did. I literally was laying in my bed and I prayed a prayer and I said to the Lord, you know, I'm in need of your help. And so the Lord placed in my spirit a fast. So I started a fast and it was a 14-day fast. And I turned the TV off. Because I would watch all those 100 garbage TV shows, okay? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, so that was one area that I started denouncing myself because I enjoyed watching those TV shows. Social media was a big area. So I turned that off during this fast. And I turned away my plate, my food, of course, and I transitioned over to prayer. So the Lord gave me a fast to just read His Word, try to find out more of what His Word is talking about. So that was definitely killing the flesh, to just sit and read. I would go to work and read for 14 days with no television, no nothing other than just reading, go to work, read, and pray. And so for 14 days I did that, and that helped me to denounce and reject my flesh, which really empowered me because a lot was going on in those. It's almost like everything started happening in those 14 days. Everything that I enjoyed, everything that the flesh enjoyed, you know.
Flesh enjoyed. Yeah.
People were knocking on the door talking about, we going to Soho's. I'm like, huh?
Okay, now what's Soho's?
Yeah, so it's a club. It was a club that we were going to when I was out clubbing. So yeah, they had so many block parties were going on and all of these different events, and I'm like, no, I'm not going. So that was me denouncing and rejecting my own patterns.
Okay, and so did you feel like when you, well, let me say it this way. It sounds like once you started to fast, like things really start coming at you even more.
Yes. And I could, and back then, let me say this, I probably didn't understand what I understand now about it. But I do understand now, so I'll share the understanding of what I know concerning when you start denouncing self, then here's a whole heap of forces that the enemy uses to try to stop you because he understands what you're doing. He's losing power. So now in my now life, I understand that those forces was trying to stop me from going into what God was calling me to do. But so back then, even though I didn't understand why everything was just bombarding me, I did know that something's not right for everything to be coming up. Mm-hmm. I mean, friends were even getting mad at me because I didn't want to do what I used to do no more. And normally that's not their attitudes. So with all of that being said, I knew that it was a strategy from the enemy to distract me.
Yeah, and I just want to mention this as well because I think it's important that if you could speak to the mind, because one of the things you say is that you got away from TV and you shut that down, and you, with putting that down, you read more.
Yes.
And so, because I think a lot of times when we talk about fasting, we always think about food
Correct.
or social media, but
Correct.
we don't think about TV. So can you speak to that mind part of that?
So the television part is very important because listen, we television is tell a vision. So whenever you're engaged into television, it's telling you a vision. And so it's getting inside of you. You notice like you'll watch a TV show and then you feel like what the TV show is talking about. You see a commercial food. Now you're hungry. You know, it's telling you a vision to direct your mind. So the Lord wanted me to shut it down so that he can be the only one speaking to my mind. Wow. And so that was very important. Even social media, when you're looking at things on social media, it's speaking to your spirit because there's an airwave connection. That's also in a vision translation way. You know, it's another form of vision. Yeah. So it speaks to you. And so the Lord wanted me to make sure, just shut all that down. Use your mind to read. Use back in the days they didn't have the internet, you know, they didn't have television, so they didn't have these things that we have to distract us from that rawness. And it's not just about not eating, because if you just focused on not eating, you're on a diet, and that's not a fast. You're not fasting.
You have definitely helped someone right there.
Yes, you're on a diet, and if you're not spending oneness with him, then
that's good. So now, did this actually lead into your call and your purpose from that point? So where were you in your journey?
Now it took a minute for me to start. This did lead into me transitioning my life over to Christ, surrendering my whole life. So for like a year and a half, I think I was on a journey of just surrendering.
A year and a half?
Yes, of just surrendering.
Wow.
Like, no, I was not in my calling yet. Like, I didn't understand my calling. I didn't understand my purpose. I was just in a place of surrendering. I always was just in that place of surrendering my life over to his. Like, I want to date you. I want to know you. I want to be with you. I have shared this multiple times. I called Jesus my boyfriend. I'm like, I let everybody else who I wanted to be my friend. Now you're going to be my boyfriend. So I'm going to talk to you all day. I'm going to be with you all day. And, you know.
So you're building that relationship with Christ. That foundation.
Yes.
Okay. So now let's talk about call and purpose. So when we always hear that a lot, and I know a lot of people struggle with call and with their purpose. So how does a person identify that, or how did you identify your call and purpose?
So my call, how did I identify it? First off, I noticed when I was in church, I would be this one that people would come to for conversations to confide in. So they would come and talk to me about certain things, and I would give them advice, and I would tell them things that was literally from the heart. But I wasn't trying to work a calling, so to speak. I was just being me.